Hello everyone. Welcome back to Beyond the Illusion. I'm Kunal, or as some of you know me as Chip. Hope you are having a great weekend. It's Sunday afternoon. Of course, this was time for another episode to come on. Over the week, I was thinking, okay, what should I talk about? And voila, something happened. I was reading the news, and one story caught my attention. It was about, Origin Energy breach. Now, before we go any further, again, this episode is not going to analyze Origin Energy. Okay? None of us, apart from the people actually investigating it, know the full story. Right? And that's the exact point. Because before the investigation has even finished, from what I hear or what I read, it seems the internet has already solved it. You have probably seen the comments like they should have better controls. Uh, some people on Twitter just said they need 0 day. How could they make this happen? They probably missed a patch. They should have better threat intelligence. I'm also seeing my personal favorite. Our product would have stopped this. Oh, come on, dude. Apparently, every breach is caused by not buying someone's product, it seems. Like, funny how that works, isn't it? Anyway, while I was reading the news, I was having a chat with Bob as well. Now, if you have listened to this podcast before, Bob is that friend we all have. And obviously, you know Bob from my comics as well. Okay, Bob is curious. He asks really good questions, which keeps me on my toes. Sometimes he asks the same question everyone else is thinking. And that's why I like talking to him. Okay, Bob looks at me and says, Chip, did you see Origin Energy News? How did they get hacked? And I looked at him and said, okay, Bob, I actually don't think that's the most interesting question. And he started laughing. I said, what do you mean? Like, that's literally what everyone wants to know. And that's what my team wants to know. And I'm responding that exactly that's the problem. Because every single time a company gets breached, the first question everyone asks is how did they get hacked? The media is asking the same questions that exec is asking, or maybe executives from other teams or other organization is asking, boards, LinkedIn, even your family is asking about it. So what happened? Now see, don't get me wrong. If you're part of the incident response team, or let's say you're doing digital forensics analysis of the incident or whatever you want to call, then yes, that's absolutely the right question. But for everyone else, I think we are starting in the wrong place, don't we? Right? You know what this reminds me of was like just imagine your neighbor's house gets broken into. Obviously, everybody has that nosy neighbor. Come on. The police are still, say, inside collecting evidence. The family is trying to understand what happened, and outside, these neighbors are standing around and saying and giggling and just discussing. Hey, they should have bought a bigger lock. I think. One says, no. They actually should have or needed security cameras. The other one goes, nah, man. They should have a dog. I have a German Shepherd. And then it always one neighbor, hey, the ones who never owned a house, who somehow knows exactly what the owners should have done differently. And are we doing the same thing when it comes to the breach? Huh? That's cybersecurity, right? Every breach creates thousands of detectives, don't we? I'm not saying I have not done this in the past, but I have learned through my mistakes. And I'm not saying it's a mistake to ask any questions, right? But just don't assume, because if you assume, you know. I'm not going to tell. But before the investigation have even started, every breach creates thousands of detectives. Is what just saying before, and that's what fascinates me. We are so busy trying to explain how it happened that we rarely stop and ask whether we are asking the right question in the first place. Right? Maybe. So just maybe. Do we think that we have been measuring cybersecurity the wrong way all along? If yes, and if you believe we are, I sometimes do, and that's what I want to explore today. Because I think the biggest illusion is not the breach itself. I believe the biggest illusion is believing cybersecurity is only about preventing one. Right? So let's talk about it. Correct? And Bob goes, that, okay, Chip, if how did they get hacked is not the right question, then what is? That's a fair question from Bob, isn't it? It's a good question, right? Actually, it's probably the question we should all be asking. Think about it. And I asked Bob, let me ask you something. Imagine you have a brand new car, or I'm asking you. Imagine you have a brand new car, top of the range, every safety feature you can think of. It has ABS, lane assist, airbags, just it doesn't uh, do your manicure, which is fine, emergency braking, the whole package shabang. Now, when you bought that car, did you buy it because you were planning to crash? Tell me, honestly. Of course not, right? Nobody walks into a dealership and says, hey, can I have the most likely to hit a tree? Huh, what? No. We buy these safety features because, or we buy the cars with all these safety features because if something goes wrong, we want to walk away, right? That's in a way like we are trying to get some assurance. But in our world, the better word that I use is that's resilience. Okay, that's not a prevention. That's two different things. And cybersecurity is exactly the same. Somewhere along the way, I think we have convinced ourselves that success means never getting breached, isn't it? Think about for a second. If your definition of success is we will never have a security incident, or in the past 6 months we have never seen a security incident, we are 100% secure, then you have created a target that no one can honestly promise. See, attackers change, tech changes, business change, demographics change, people make mistakes, vendors make mistakes, and sometimes things just go wrong, isn't it? But then Bob interrupts me. Say, hang on. Are you saying prevention doesn't matter? And I go, no. See, absolutely not. Prevention, of course, matters. We should patch, yes. We should implement MFA, yes. We should improve identity, yes. We should reduce our attack surface, yes. Of course, we should, right? That's our job. But here's where I think we have confused ourselves. We have treated prevention as the destination, right? For me, it is actually just one part of the journey. Let me give you another example. Hopefully, this doesn't happen, but let's say a house catches fire. I have never heard somebody saying that, well, I installed smoke alarms, so why did the fire still happen? Huh? Smoke alarms don't stop fires. They help you to respond faster. Same way, fire extinguishers do not stop fire. They reduce the impact. Insurance does not stop fires. It helps you to recover, right? And none of these controls exist because we expect perfection, right? They exist because we accept reality. So why cybersecurity should be different? Correct? Cybersecurity should be no different. And yet, what I'm noticing is every time there is a breach, the first thing we ask is what controls failed, right? But why are you not asking what controlled worked? Why are you not asking did we detect it? Did our SOC pick it up? Did our analyst investigate properly? Did we contain before it spread? Did our incident response plan actually work? Because here's the thing, nobody is celebrating detection, correct? Nobody writes a headline saying SOC detects attacker in 18 minutes and successfully contains incident. Well, actually, to be honest, some vendors do. Okay, that's out of scope. But in any way, that's not exciting. Headlines only appear when things go wrong, which is unfortunate. And that's what creates another illusion that cybersecurity is only judged by failure, isn't it? But think about aviation. Let's say, for example, the aviation industry. When thousands of flights land safely every day, nobody talks about it. Correct. Like there is but one emergency landing and it's a global news. Right? And does that mean that aviation is unsafe? No, of course not, right? It means only notice, it means we only notice the exceptions. And what I'm seeing is within cybersecurity, we are doing exactly the same. The organizations you never hear about may actually have some of the best security teams. Not because threat actors or attackers never targeted them, no, but their systems, their people, their processes worked exactly as they were designed to. So maybe, just maybe, we have been measuring the wrong thing. Think about it. Maybe the real measure of cybersecurity is not whether a threat actor got in, or a threat actor or an attacker gets in. Maybe it what happens the moment they do. And when I was saying this Bob just looked at me and smiled. He said, "Huh, I never thought about it that way." And my response was, I said, "I know, most of us don't. I have not think that previously as well." And that's the illusion. Right. And again, Bob sat there for a second, thinking. Then he asked me one last question. Okay, Chip. So, say if my company ends up on news tomorrow, what's the first question I should ask? Well, like, I smiled because I think that's the question every board or every exec or every CEO or security leader should ask themselves. Not after the breach, but they should ask is as of today. So I told Bob, let's say, imagine tomorrow morning, as Bob was asking if their company ends up in the news tomorrow. The names is all over the news, phones are ringing, execs are joining Teams calls. Someone's ordering pizzas because nobody's going home tonight. Trust me, if you ever worked in incident, there are times that you have to order food in, and many times pizzas always arrive before the answers. Now tell me, what's the first question you are asking? Is it how did they get hacked, or is it do we actually know what's happening? And that's what how I would say. Now, not because they are two different questions or different conversations. Okay. Other questions that I will be focusing on, or what I would ask, is how long were they in environment? How confident are we in what we are saying? Who needs to know this first? Who is making those decisions or any decisions? Have we contained it? Can the business keep operating? All these questions, if you notice that none of those questions requires you to know exactly how the attacker got in. Is it we? I'm not saying that root cause is not important because it will eventually help to improve. Yes, right, and those answers will come. I'm not saying no. That's what investigations are for. But in those first few hours, once you know what happened, These questions can really help. And as a leader, I have learned that it's not about having every answer. For me, it's about asking the right questions. And that's the difference. And additionally, you know what I have realized over the years, that I've never walked out an incident thinking, I wish we would have one more security product, honestly. I have never walked out thinking, I wish I had communicated late, or earlier, it's always in time. Um, I have walked out thinking, saying, I wish we have made that decision 20 minutes sooner. Yes, I have done that. Um, it's a lesson learned, right, from personally as well. In many incidents, I have walked out thinking, I wish we would have practiced this scenario before it happened. And those are leadership problems, not tech problems, if you look at it, right? And when I was saying this, it just Bob looked at me and said, "Oh, okay, okay, hold on. So are you saying prevention isn't the goal here?" I said no. Yeah, that was my answer. Prevention is not a goal. Now, firstly, yeah, prevention is important. Yes, incredibly important. We should stop as much as we possibly can. We should learn from outside world. We should learn from other incidents. Yes, but what I'm trying to say is, if we are going to measure prevention is the only thing to improve or to look mature, then we have already lost. Because eventually someone will get through. Maybe it's a phishing email, stolen credentials, a third party. Maybe it's something nobody has even thought of it yet. Reality, right? If it's something new, just think about OpenAI and Hugging Face incident. We are not going to talk about that as today. Uh, any good security teams don't pretend reality don't exist. And about what I just mentioned is the reality. Good teams prepare for it. And that's why we have incident response. We run tabletop exercises. We back up our system. We train our people. Not because we expect to fail. Because we refuse to let one failure become a catastrophe. Like reducing the blast radius, isn't it? And maybe that's the biggest illusion of all. We have spent years telling ourselves that cybersecurity is about building walls high enough that nobody can even get in. And I don't think that it is. I think cybersecurity is about building organizations. Organization will take a hit, and they can take a hit. But even though they stay standing, we learn, we recover, and we come back stronger. Right? Because cybersecurity has never really been about preventing every failure. Think of it. It's about designing systems that fail safely. What I mean is, once single account gets compromised, it doesn't convert into whole business getting compromised, right? And that's what we want to focus on, and that's what resilience is. And maybe that's what have been we have been trying to achieve all along, don't we? Correct. Think about it. Resilience. So thanks for spending a bit of your weekend with me. I genuinely appreciate it. If this episode made you think differently, or maybe challenge something you have always believed, share it with someone in your team or in your community. And before we go, here is one question I would love you to ask your team or yourself tomorrow morning. If we were in tomorrow's headline, what would be the first question we would ask? See what answers you get. Just a fun game. Until next time, I'm Kunal or Shiv. This has been Beyond the Illusion. Stay curious, challenge the obvious, and always look beyond the illusion. Have a good day.